So, welcome to the YouTube session of NDTV, and we are today going to discuss about what is happening in the Middle East. Israel, as per the foreign media reports, has launched its attack against Iran yesterday late night, and today morning there reports emerged that perhaps there were three explosions heard in Iranian city of Isfahan. Uh, but whether the state media is confirming, the state media says that there has been no explosion. Perhaps that was the Iran's air defense system which neutralized the attack coming out of Israel, the drones or the projectiles coming from that particular region. Now there is a lot of confusion whether these attacks came out of Israel, whether US and UK were aware about it, and what kind of intention or what intention did it carry as far as the attack is concerned. I'm joined here by my colleague Vishal, and he has been keeping an eye on all the global developments out of the Middle East right now, where the conflict is escalating. So Vishal, just today morning we have heard that how perhaps three explosions were heard inside the city of Isfahan. What is the global media saying? What is the Iran's state media, and what is the Israel's state media saying about it?
So it all started with this ABC report from the US. They quoted some officials of the state media. So ABC said that Iran has conducted the strike, but that was followed by some rebuttals from, as you mentioned, Iranian state media, particularly IRNA and Press TV. So what they are saying is that there have been explosions, but they were only defensive systems being deployed to counterattack some of the drones. They have not said that Israel has attacked these.
Or the attacks came
Yeah,
out of Israel?
yeah. So it's a lot of contradictory reports out there. Only sort of confirmation is from the US media that has said that Israel has conducted some strikes. So it's sort of a hazy area right now, but there have been reports of explosions in the city of Isfahan, and so we'll have to wait for confirmation on that.
Okay, and before we proceed further of why this attack happened or what is the background of this attack, we'll just try to recollect as to what happened since the first week of April, that Israel was accused of attacking Iranian's consulate in Damascus, the Syria's capital, which killed many senior IRGC officials there. And perhaps since then, Iran was saying that it will revenge the attack. It will, and just for our viewers' clarity, Israel never confirms nor denies any attack on Syria's soil, whether it was the consulate attack which happened in the first week of April. But Israel keeps attacking Damascus airport, other civilian areas in Syria, the reason being that Syria is very close to Iran, and Israel accuses Iran of sending arms and ammunition to Syria, and from where Israel accuses Iran of supplying it to other terror
So
outfits.
there are many, as you mentioned, there are many militias based in Syria and Iraq that are supported by Iran.
Right.
So it's sort of a shadow war situation almost around the year where, as you mentioned, Israel attacks these positions in Syria and Iraq that supposedly have these Iran-backed militias, and then there's counterattack from these militias on some Israeli positions. So this situation is not new, but the recent escalations have become serious. So uh, it could be anything. So this Israel is yet to officially confirm this, but there have been some reports of explosions in Isfahan.
So last year, since October 7, the war started between Israel and Hamas after the October 7 attack, when Hamas militias entered into Israel, breached its boundary, killed around 1,400 people. And since then, it's almost 6 months. The war
Yeah, it's been
between
6 months.
Hamas and Israel started in October. And after that, Israel has not shied away from attacking its adversaries in Lebanon, in Syria.
Yeah.
And Israel has also been facing aerial attacks by Houthis from Yemen, some militias from Iraq,
Yeah.
some from Syria, some from Lebanon. Hezbollah is in
Yeah.
Lebanon, backed by Iran. And now, while this cycle of violence was going on, Israel is accused of attacking Iran's consulate in Damascus.
Yeah.
After which Iran said that it will retaliate.
Yeah.
And Iran also attacked.
Iran has officially
Hundreds of-
said that they have attacked Israel, although that was an aerial attack, but that was mostly countered totally by Israel's Supreme Iron Dome system. So they had fired around 200 to 300 drones and missiles on Israel's airspace. So Israeli military has said that they have shot down 99% of those drones. So it was so all this boiling situation sort of points to the area that are these countries really attacking each other, or it's just sort of a shadow war situation still? Because as far as the reports of casualties go, just one young girl was injured in
Injured,
Iran,
yeah.
Israel, sorry. And as far as the latest reports from Iran are concerned, nobody has been injured. So,
Okay,
yeah,
so first Iran attacked Israel after the
yeah,
consulate attack in
yes,
Damascus, and then hundreds of drones were fired upon.
yes,
And we heard after the attack, it was confirmed that perhaps Iran had informed in prior to US and UK that it is
yeah,
not going to the attack. The intention of the attack is not for any casualty. It is
yeah,
not going
yeah.
to attack any nuclear
And the
facility.
official Iranian handle had also Israeli handle on X had said that their intention is not to harm the people of Iran. They are only against the supreme leader of Iran and the government that supports the supreme leader. So the clarification was given Israel by Israel before.
Okay, so coming back to the current situation
Yeah,
now, since morning, perhaps flights were suspended in Iran.
yeah,
Their aerial
yeah,
space was shut,
yeah,
but as of now, the latest
yeah.
is that
They
they have
have reopened. Yes,
reopened this
yes,
space. Coming back to the Iran's attack on
yeah,
Israel, that hundreds of drones were fired upon.
yeah.
One of the Israeli outlet, which I just looked up on
Hmm.
Mariv, says that the interception rate of the missile stands at about 84%, but
Okay.
it is not similar to the numbers quoted by
Yeah, by
IDF
the
that it was
yeah, yeah.
99%.
So yeah, the point here is that Iron Dome system used by Israel is the best in the world.
Right.
Even though Israel is a much smaller country when it compared it with Iran's nuclear, I mean the military capabilities, but I mean Israel has a really big Iron Dome system that intercepts almost anything that's fired towards its airspace. So every day from Hamas, from Gaza, and also from Lebanon, almost every day strikes have been happening from these areas. But Israel has intercepted almost all of them. So it's a supreme system. Whether or not Iran has been able to counter the supposed Israeli attacks, that remains to be seen.
Right.
Yeah,
So one thing, Vishal, which every most of the international experts or the conflict watchers are saying, that when it comes to intercepting missile, and we'll come back to that situation later, that what happens next, but just to recollect as what has happened in the past, in the last 1 week, this entire Israel thwarting all the Iranian attacks, or the aerial defense system they have, the Iron Dome. Most of the military experts have spoken or heard of in the international media. They say that it was a joint operation
it
by
was.
US and
It
its
was.
allies,
Yeah,
which
yeah, yeah.
managed to sort of thwart
Yeah,
hundreds
yeah,
of
yeah.
drones which came
So
simultaneously.
Biden has had actually given this official statement after these attacks that US played a significant role in thwarting that attack. So even though Israel has this superior system of Iron Dome, US did play a role in thwarting those attacks because it was really sudden, and we all know that Iran is also a really strong nation. It has the IRGC itself, which is the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, that itself is really powerful and calls the shots in Iran, and it also has other military wings. So it was also US and UK.
And do you think that this is more like a shadow boxing, because both the countries before launching the attack are keeping the superpowers in loop? They're
Yeah,
telling US
yeah,
that they are going to launch an aerial attack, because we heard in the media David Cameron saying day
yeah,
before yesterday or
yeah.
yesterday itself that Israel will retaliate. So how do you see this development, that US and UK are being informed by both Israel and Iran before launching the attack?
So the reason could be a lot of reasons could be there. The main reason is that both Iran and Israel have sort of expressed in the recent past that they don't want to escalate the tensions, even though they have been striking each other. So they're sort of giving a calibrated response. They don't want this to go to the next level, which could be an all-out war. Uh, so the reason could be that I mean the reason they are keeping these bigger partners in loop, US
One
and
of the
UK.
reasons to keep
Yeah,
them in loop is to
yeah.
keep it
To
very
so none of the big players are surprised by their moves. So it could be that.
okay. And the other reason which I could make out of is that they're also trying to cater to their local audience, because both the countries are now in the hands of what you call In Israel, we call very conservatives are ruling the
Yeah.
country. In Iran, we know the
Yeah.
generally they're termed as hardliners, or
Yeah.
Khomeini is
Yeah.
there, Khamenei is there. So and they both are hostile to each other. But perhaps one of the very unique, I would say, a conflict between two nations which don't share borders with each other. Though US is often accused of waging war outside its
Yeah.
border with
Yeah.
nations, but these two countries have been hostile to each other, yet they don't share borders with each other. So coming back to the point about Isfahan, the city
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Iran
Yeah.
city today, which
Why is that
reported
important?
why it is that
Yeah. Yeah.
important, because perhaps it has the nuclear sites.
It does. It does.
And can you share more
It
light, like
it
why Isfahan is the focus
it
now?
has quite a few nuclear sites. One of the nuclear sites, it's sort of the bedrock of Iran's uranium program. I'm forgetting the name, but it is the center stage of Iran's nuclear operations. So, initial reports had said that there were some explosions near those nuclear sites,
Right.
but Iran has refuted those reports and said and really also released videos near those nuclear sites showing there's no damage in near those areas. So and also the fact that the International Atomic Energy Agency, which is the IAEA,
What is their statement about it?
they have also come up and said that the nuclear sites in Iran are unharmed. So and they've appealed to the nations to remain calm and steer clear of these areas, because we all know if the, even if there is a slight spark in these nuclear areas, it could lead to anything. So the IAEA has come up and told everyone to sort of remain calm.
Okay, and a few more developments that you have seen in the last 24 hours. One is about US vetoing Palestine getting a
True.
permanent
Yeah.
seat in the
Yeah.
UNSC, as well as first the US had what the many foreign media has quoted, that perhaps Iran was being convinced by US, Israel was being convinced by US to not go ahead with this attack, and they will perhaps give them some leeway to go and attack in Rafah in Gaza area. So how do you see that now? Is Israel has already launched its attack, so
Yeah.
whether US will be upset with that, or it's just more like US is just trying to show that perhaps it has
Yeah.
too much of leverage over Israel.
That remains to be seen. But as far as the experts are concerned, uh, they're not really concerned about. Then they won't be that much concerned about this because there's barely any damage on the ground in Iran. So this was sort of this is a showdown, but it does not reflect that much on the ground. Like common people have not been affected by these strikes, these counter strikes and strikes. So, but yeah, coming back to Rafah, which has sort of been a very contentious issue when Israel and US are concerned. Both Biden and Netanyahu, they have been at loggerheads due to Rafah mostly. So. What happens in Rafah remains to be seen. They are yet to launch that quote unquote ground offensive in Rafah, which houses about 1.5 million Gazans who have escaped daily bombings. So, a lot of questions still remain to be answered. But yeah, Rafah is the center stage of Gaza war at this moment.
Okay, and I just want to point out that many critics of Israel and Iran have reacted in a very different way to this developing situation. The Iran critics say that perhaps if you want to attack a territory, you would not intimate any one of it. It should be a surprise attack.
Yeah.
So if your drones are taking around 8 or 9 hours, and there are a lot of memes on the social media
Yeah.
as well, that by the time Iran launched its drone attack, the IDF chief had his dinner, he
Yeah.
had his breakfast,
Yeah.
and then he got prepared, and then everything was intercepted
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
air itself. While there are many pro-Saudi voices, pro-Arab voices in on the social media, they're also saying that perhaps this was just to deflect attention or Israel's attention from Gaza, because we've seen on social media that many Gaza residents who are saying that since this situation escalated between Israel and Iran, there have nearly been no bombings in Gaza because Israeli forces are more focused on thwarting the attacks from Iran. So perhaps these are certain theories which are floating on social media, but I think that US and UK were kept in loop just to ensure that both these parties, both these nations, cater to their local audience, and they should. It should turn out to be a win-win situation for both, because Israel says that it managed to intercept all the projectiles coming from Iran, So it's good for us. It's a sort of victory. Now, Iran also says that there has been no such damage. We were aware of the attack. Our aerial defense system was activated the moment the attacks were launched, or we detected something like that, and it
And
was
they have
restored.
not said that it is Israel who has attacked them.
Yeah,
So
that's an
that's
important
also
point.
an important point, considering they have the state media of Iran has covered this extensively, that there were some counter missiles that were fired by Iran to counter some of the drones, but they did not say where those drones came
Came
from.
from, yes.
So that's
So that's the
also,
difference, right? When
yeah,
Iran attacked Israel, it
yeah,
was well known.
yeah,
Entire media knew that, okay,
yeah,
right? Because Iran itself declared that we're going to
yeah,
attack Israel,
yes.
right? But yesterday, since
Hmm.
these attacks were explosions were reported in Iran, as per the
Hmm.
foreign media, Israel was not quoted either by Iran or by Israel itself. Nobody came out in the open saying this, that Israel has done it.
Except the US media, which has quoted a few Israeli defense officials who have sort of confirmed to them that, yeah, it is Israel who's behind
Or
these
the
recent
source of the
attacks.
attack is Israel.
Yeah, but there's no wider reach of this. Only a few handful of defense officials have been quoted by US media. Yeah.
So, just coming to the last segment, that now I think for the last couple of hours, since the reports came out that there were explosions heard in Iran city, I think it is the situation is tense, but it's quite calm in Iran right now, in the cities right now. So, how do you see this developing further? Do you see this escalating? The way it has been reported is being reported for the last couple of days, that it will be the situation will escalate, it will be all out war. Because one thing which is very clear, that since October 7 everybody was saying that Biden's foreign policy has failed, despite all his shuttle diplomacy and Mr.
Yeah.
Blinken going from one
Yeah.
Middle Eastern country
Yeah.
to another. The war has certainly spilled over. Houthis were involved.
Yeah.
Hezbollah is engaged now, and now we have already Iran, which was seen as the proxy,
Yeah.
sort of deploying all the proxy militia. This is also even Iran has come out in the forefront, and it's all Israel versus Iran rather than Israel versus Hamas. So, do you see this escalating further?
That's difficult to answer at this moment, but I don't see that escalating that much because first Israel, first Iran rained down some drones and missiles on Iran already, and now Israel has supposedly reacted to that. So it's status quo now. They have sort of counter attacked each other with minimum civilian casualties, which is a big point here. Because had this been an attack that would have killed dozens of people in Iran, that could have blown out into
So
whatever.
it's more like a
Yeah,
win-win situation for both.
yeah.
So
It's on the international arena. Both have stormed their authority, their respective public in their own countries. They would have, you know, s- now they have some kind of ground to say that, yeah,
okay.
our government has done something.
Okay, so we hope that peace is restored in Middle East and the situation doesn't escalate. Thanks for watching us. Thanks, Vishal, for sharing
Thanks
all
a
your
lot. Pleasure.
insights on the Middle East crisis right now. Thanks for watching NDTV YouTube Live. पहले बोलो,